In this video, we're going to take a look at the while loop. So start off by opening up your actions panel, and then we'll write while, a set of empty parentheses, and then a set of empty curly braces, just like we did with the if statement. But the while loop behaves differently than the if statement. The if statement only gets executed once, while the while loop gets executed as long as a certain condition is satisfied. So we need to make sure that at some point this condition becomes false so that the while loop stops executing. Otherwise we're going to have some problems. You might crash flash or your entire system might halt. So to do that, we're going to define a variable. We'll call it I. It's going to be of type number, and we'll set it equal to 0. And then inside the while loop, we're going to say while I is less than or equal to 10, then I want this statement to trace I. So basically what this code does is, first it checks if I is less than or equal to 10. Initially I is equal to 0, then it's going to trace I. Then again it will check if I is less than or equal to 10. I is still equal to 0, so this code will keep running over and over and over, and eventually it will crash the system. So what I need to do is to provide a way to get out of the while loop. That is by saying I plus equals 1. And what this means is 1 is being added to I each time the while loop executes. So the while loop will first check if I is less than or equal to 10, I is equal to 0, so it will trace 0, and then it will add 1 to I. Now I is equal to 1. 1 is still less than or equal to 10, so it will trace 1, then I will be equal to 2. We'll keep going on and on and on with this until I eventually equals 11, and then I won't be traced. So Control Enter, test your movie, and pretty much we can see here that if I close this off, put my outputs panel here, expand it a little bit, and see that I is being traced from 0 till 10. There's another way of incrementing I as long as we're adding only 1 to it, which is by saying I plus plus. This basically adds 1 to I each time the code runs. It has exactly the same result as the one before. There's another way of getting out of the while loop other than setting an initial number and keep adding values to it, which is by using the break. So let's say that while 1 is less than or equal to 10, which is always true, keep tracing I plus plus, and within the while loop I will place an if statement. If I is greater than 10, then I want it to break. Test our movie, and pretty much the exact same result happens. So the break statement allows me to get out of the loop if a certain condition is satisfied so that the system doesn't crash. There is also the do while loop, which is similar to the while loop except for one minor difference. So if I delete all of this code here, and I will write do, a set of empty parentheses, a set of empty braces, and then while, a set of parentheses and a semicolon. So this statement executes whatever is within this set of braces and then checks for the condition. So this statement will execute at least once. As an example, do trace I and then I plus plus, because again this is a loop and we want a way out, because else we will crash the system, and then while I is less than or equal to 10. So test our movie. We will get the same result as we did with the while loop. So where's the difference? Let's say I set I initially to 100. 100 is clearly greater than 10, but yet this statement will execute at least once because it traces I first and then checks for the condition if it's true or not. We see that 100 has been traced, even though 100 is greater than 10. So that's the major difference between the do while loop and the while loop.